Oh, hi, Sarah. Happy Monday. Hi, Kathleen. Happy to have you here, Kathleen.
Thank you, Leah.
Good to see you, Sarah. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I sure did. As always, I want to just put a little plug in there. Our platform is to dedicate to support the nonprofit organizations called Refugee Film School. And Refugee Film School is an organization that help refugee students in Malaysia learn to earn. And what they're learning graphic designs, and they're learning video editing. They're learning all the technology, digital things to help them form a future that one day when they are resettled in a adopted country, they can thrive, because these students and their families sometimes get trapped in Malaysia up to a decade, and they still have not get any news about relocating, resettling. So that's what, since Sarah and I both come from a refugee background, we thought it's so appropriate to dedicate this platform to help them. So if anyone would like to do a donation, please go to www.refugeefilmschool.com, and there's a donation button there. And if you want to, you can say that you got the word from Surviving to Thriving from our platform. That would be greatly appreciated.
But before I introduce myself, I just want to give a quick background about our platform, because we have a lot of new viewers that never heard about our background. Well, since the pandemic started in March last year, Lee and I, we got together. We want to share what we have been through in the past and what it resonates with us in this pandemic time. So that's the reason why we create this platform, to help to encourage and inspire and motivate people from not feeling too fearful, because we have been through a big fearful time. We overcome the big obstacle. So it's just that we feel confident that everything will be okay. So that's our platform is about. But anyway, for me, I just want to go very quickly. I'm Sarah M, co-host here, and I came from Cambodia. My background is very sad and tricky, but just to let you know that difficult time won't last. I gone through the difficult time. I almost died in the genocide in Cambodia, but God was so faithful, and I am so grateful that I was able to survive. And I published my story in the book. It's called How I Survived the Killing Fields. It's available on my website, sarahim.com. And I also go out to speak to inspire people in the community. So if you ever need my service, just reach out. Back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Sarah. So I am the other half. My name is Lee Tran, and I'm also come from a refugee background. I think we already said that. And I came from Vietnam, which is a neighbor of Cambodia. And we went pretty much parallel in our history, because communists dominate Cambodia and also in South Vietnam. And we have escaped out after 4 years living with the communists. So out to the sea. So we were giving that massive wave of people that escape out to the sea as a boat people refugee back in the 80s. So that's us. And me too. I also take a long time for me to speak up, to tell the world, not my story, but story of millions and millions of refugees in this country. We all have the same theme. We all have the same suffering, but we survive. We not only survive, we thrive. So I did tell my story on the TEDx stage, and it's called I Did Not Miss the Boat. I also had my memoir out last year. It's also called I Did Not Miss the Boat. So the boat is everything to me, even though I am not a big boat person, but the boat has so many things significant in my life. I am also a speaker. When I go out, I speak to inspire people, to bring hope to people, and also to advocate for refugees, for the hopeless, for the people who need second chance. And I'm also a transformational coach, which I also accredited by ICF this past May. So when I look at Kathleen's background, I was like, whoa, we have another coach fellow. So very, very excited to have her on the platform today. Thank you for joining us, Kathleen.
Well, thank you for having me. And you both have shared your very inspirational stories, and I love your mission. And I know we've had a chance to talk a little bit about how our missions really align. And so I'm happy to be here and help support your community as well.
Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to hear your story. Can you share with us what's your background? What led you to this mission of helping others and be a coach? And, there's just so much we would love to learn about you.
Sure, I'll just share a little bit of, what got me here. I actually, I was born and raised in the United States, but I still had my own struggles internally of figuring out what it was for me in the world and how I could help others, right? I always knew that I wanted to help other people, but I really didn't know how. And I had more trouble kind of seeing myself and what my gifts were and how I could share those with other people. So it was natural to help people, but I wanted to, have a very specific thing that I did. And I believe that we're all unique. We all have unique gifts, and it's those gifts combined with our unique experiences, as you've just shared yours, that were designed to help people, in some way. And so it really turned out that my way was figuring out what I was good at. And so now what I get to do is actually help others to find their gifts. So I help other people find their gifts and their values and their purpose. So I had already had, education. I have a teaching background. I have a sociology degree. I had those things, but it was still something inside me where I was really looking for that purpose. And so I just did a lot of writing and prayer and meditation, and was led to coaching, as you mentioned. I went to a coaching accredited by the ICF called Coach for Life. And so I started there, but then I started, after that was the real journey of starting a business and learning what that's all about. And I think that's where maybe some of our stories align even more, is because, when you're starting from zero, and you have to just build everything up. And, I didn't know how to do all of that. So it's been a journey, and it's been wonderful. I've met many wonderful women just like you two here. And so that's what's helped me, to keep going and to keep, the direction towards that mission of helping as many women as I can to find their purpose, and so that they can do the same with their gifts, right? I don't want to just help them, but I want them to help others as well and keep that going.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Beautiful.
So, okay. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
So thank you so much for sharing. So originally your background is teacher. You're a teacher.
I do have a degree. Yeah, I have a master's degree in childhood education. So I had that, but it wasn't what I really truly wanted to do. I have done some tutoring after that. I actually tutored a woman who was 72 years old, and I taught her how to read. And that's when I learned that I really love to work with adults. And I loved how she never gave up on her goals. And so she actually worked on a farm, and it was upstate New York, and the weather was only when the weather was really bad could she go to school. Other than that, she had to work on the farm. Wow. Yeah, and so she never gave up, though. She had missed so much, that she never caught on. But I was able to help her, at 72 years old, to be able to learn how to read. And that's when I really, I learned two things. The one was that I love to work with adults. I learned that. And then, like I said, I just loved how she never gave up on her goals, and I really loved helping her to achieve that. And so those were things I was looking for in my next, career, my true career.
Yeah. So coaching, yeah, something is very, very new to me as well. I had consulting before, and this is actually it's my third, my fourth, whatever, my fifth line of work, going from graduating from totally a different background. And then, like you said, going into business is a really, really scary thing, which I did 15 years ago, getting out of the corporate, being a chemist, and get into a business that is not coaching, but it's a service space for home decorating. And you feel like you need to learn everything from the scratch. And I'm sure Sarah did too. When she, get off her first career or second career, but every business is different. Every business, I mean, you can think that it's the same concept, but it's so different as far as clientele, as far as, content. Where do you find your clients? Where do you find, so those are all like little struggles that accumulate to a point that I think it will be at least 3 or 4 or 5 years or even to get comfortable to say that I know what's going on in the niche. Do you find it difficult to like be where your potential clients are? Like, how do you find your clients? Like, how do you find your niche? Like, where is your present in the community?
Yeah, so I think if I'm understanding correctly, so I think there's two things. So one is, when I started, I thought, oh, I'll coach anyone, I just wanted to get out there and start helping people, right? But I learned very, very quickly to narrow it down. And so that's where I started, narrowing down with women. And then, as soon as I did that, and I would find that more women would come up to me and talk to me and ask me questions and, say, oh, I know, you should talk to my daughter or my friend or this or that. And so as I got closer to more people, coming, then I realized, what I was saying was working. And so, learning that about business, of that instead of like having such a wide range of people and trying to help anyone, that when I focused on a specific area, it was easier for people to understand what I was about and who I was, trying to coach. And so my passion really is, for women. And, then it was, I had that interest in career. Now, the reason I went to a certain specific coaching program was because of the spiritual aspect, which is really important to me, to be able to help people align, and so that to me is where I come with, I believe in those God-given gifts. And so that's what I help people to find. And so I think that's a unique aspect of what I do, rather than just coaching in the aspect of here's a job, it's not job coaching. This is like really authentic and helping people find that purpose and a bigger, to me, a higher, meaning in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's more of a holistic approach.
Yeah, it's really finding, who the person is before they even choose a career. And so a lot of people, I also worked in a college for several years. And so a lot of times, I know with my experience, it was all about finding a major, find this major, and, what do you want to do, and picking that, when a lot of times, people don't even know who they are first. So they're trying to pick something, of an interest that's kind of like picking a TV show, and then maybe you don't like it, right? Like, but if
I'm still looking for my major.
So yeah, so what I really like to do first is figure out, what are your gifts and where are your strengths, and then you can find different jobs. So, I know what those are for myself, because I've gone through, a lot of different activities and things to help me to find that, right? And now I know, okay, I can use that, in teaching, I can use that in business, I can use that at, another position. So and it's a lot easier, I think, you know, once you know what those things are. For me, I didn't worry as much anymore about what is my next job or where am I going to go, because I understood that I had value to bring to those jobs, right? Instead of feeling stuck in one thing forever, right? Like now it's like, wait, I can use these gifts in different ways, right? In different jobs and different careers. So yeah, I really like to help, you know, women to find those gifts first and visualize and have a vision of that, the future that they want, right? And so when, you know, like you said, holistic, right? Thinking of the whole life and how those things are going to interact, right? Because I think once, you know, your career is such a big part of your life, right? It's who you're spending time with. It's, you know, what you're doing. It's the money that you're making. You know, there's the things that you're learning, and so it's interacting with all these different pieces of your life, right? So your career is really important. So I think it's really important to find you know, what you really want to do. And then the other thing that I like to say is, you know, who do you want to serve, right? So thinking about not just what are you doing, what are the actions, but, you know, just like you have a wonderful mission, you know, for refugees, because you have that experience, right? And so you understand the, you know, who you're serving because you've been through that. And so I think that's another aspect as well that is really important, is to think about, you know, not just what you're doing, but who you're doing that for. And then that can be very, very fulfilling.
And I think coaching is very beautiful. I mean, I misunderstand the word coaching for a long time, because people use interchangeable, you know, it's like you could hire an advisor or a consulting who come in and help you to tell you exactly what you should do with whatever you're doing. But coach, we don't do that. We actually help them find the solution by themselves. So I think then it was just like a coaching is something you are a partner with the client. You're not actually like, you know, I think it's pretty much a guide. And that's what I find joy in it, because, you know, once you be able to help them figure that out, they don't need us anymore.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, especially, you know, I've been doing a lot of networking lately where a lot of people are just saying, oh, I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach. And I'm like, oh, wait, hang on. Like,
Right.
So yeah, it's a good point that you bring up. And just a funny little side note is one of my very first client that I ever had, you know, years and years ago, she said, you know, after I worked with her, you know, she was telling me how much she loved it. And her husband just did not understand, because he's like, what do you mean she doesn't help you? She doesn't tell you what to do. And she's like, no, and I love it. And that was her favorite thing, was that I didn't tell her what to do and what the answers were, and he just didn't get it. But, but it was really funny.
Well, that took me a long time when I go through that coaching program. And I was like, you know, like sometimes you quickly want to jump into rescue, and coach is not supposed to be a rescuer. You're supposed to be there asking deep questions that they can reflect on, so they can actually figure it out by themselves. And that's the hard part, because finding the right question to ask is something that, you know, sometimes I have to like contain myself, like, quiet, be quiet, be quiet, so you can listen to the problem. But yeah, and I think it's very gratifying. I don't know about you, I'm pretty sure you are, that's why you're picking to this lane to go. But tell us some of the success story, how you changed lives and how you impacted people.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's so many, you know, but going from, I think that the biggest thing is, you know, I've worked with different levels, right? So I have successes of people who, you know, were just starting out and choosing an industry, right? Like a 16-year-old, right? Who doesn't even know. And then to help empower them to be able to find something that they're really excited and passionate about and confident in, right?
Yeah.
A lot of students that I work with would say, you know, how they really felt encouraged, right? That they kind of were questioning and second guessing, and then to be able to go into something confidently, and then also, you know, get a job in the industry. Because that's another thing that I encourage as well, is, you know, a lot of times people wait till they have a degree or until this thing and then they start doing it. So I really encourage, you know, anyone who's listening and maybe thinking about a new career to really think about what you can do now, you know, to start building those skills, and don't wait, you know, just till you have a certification, or, you know, I'm not saying don't do anything like illegal, I'm not saying that, but be around the people that you want to serve. You know, maybe you're volunteering, or maybe you're getting a part-time job, or, you know, something where you're, you know, developing those skills. And so that's one area. Another thing that I think that's been really rewarding, and this was actually before COVID, was there was a lot of layoffs at some of the big companies around Dallas when I had started coaching. And so there was some women that had worked at big time companies that had been laid off, and they really, it knocked their confidence down, you know, and it really just, it wasn't that they didn't have skills or, you know, experience or anything like that. So just giving them that encouragement of getting back out there and, you know, finding their value again, that was really rewarding as well. But there's so many, I mean, every single person that
Case
I
is
work
different,
with
right?
is so, yeah, it's so unique to them, right? And
Right.
so but I do enjoy, you know, little notes and thank yous and things like that, you know, and I put them up on a little tack board, so that keeps me inspired and keeps me going, you know, little things that people say. So there's been a lot. I couldn't even just pick one thing.
That's just beautiful. I think that's just beautiful. And I think coaching industry is a multi-billion things out there. And there's a word saying that, you know, especially now with Zoom, you can actually coach anybody across the globe, as long as you can find a time zone that both of you staying awake, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think women is the place where needed. I think, you know, a lot of us, we need that kind of support system, knowing that somebody have, you know, attentively listen to our need and not judging and not criticizing, and, you know, be there just to support. And that's invaluable to me. And I find that, you know, even coaching need coaching. You know,
Oh
it's like,
yeah, absolutely. One of the things, you know, that I learned from being in business before is, you know, that I needed more help with the business side of things. We were kind of mentioning earlier, right, that there's so much to learn. And so I actually am part of the, you know, business coaching program where I, you know, get to be inspired and learn things and, you know, think of how I can apply them. So it's been very helpful, you know, as well to have that. And so I think it's really important, you know, there's so many different areas of coaching. And so, you know, maybe you have something that you're really good at, but maybe there's, you know, just a different area where you need that support, you know, and so it's important to look at, you know, all aspects and how the industry in general can help.
So do you see more need for the younger people before they start college, or you see more need of the business women who already have a business?
Yeah, it's hard to say which one, you know, I've coached 16-year-olds to 69-year-olds. So it's everyone that, you know, I think it's a lot of women that need confidence building, and that comes from really knowing what you have and understanding your values so that you can get out there and serve more. And I think, you know, once you understand your value, then you can make more money too, right? And that's definitely a problem in our country, right? Is that women aren't making as much as men, and they're skilled, right? They can do it, they have those gifts, but that, to me, that comes with the confidence and understanding the value that you have to offer and being able to express, you know, this is what I have. So many times, you know, no matter what age, a lot of times, you know, women that I work with they kind of, they don't think that the things they've done count. So it could be a stay-at-home mom, or it could be even somebody who's been working in one industry and they want to change to another. they'll come to me and think that they don't have anything to offer, that they're starting from
That
scratch.
is about
Yeah,
self-worth,
so it's
right?
really it's really important, you know,
Mhm.
for me to help show that value, that they already
Yeah.
have been doing all of these things, right? Like you have these skills, you know, so some come natural, some are learned, right? And then, you know, you can learn from books and podcasts, you know, like this, and, you know, you can learn from so many things. So, you know, it's important to build on what comes natural, but then of course you can, you know, I have a natural gift for writing, but that doesn't mean I can't take a writing coaching program and learn something, right? And so
Right.
you can always build on those things, but it doesn't mean you don't have anything to begin with. And so I think that's really important. So Sarah, I don't know if I answered that. Like, it's really hard to say. I think everyone needs that, you know, but to me, if I can help them when, you know, people when they are younger, though, maybe save them in the long run, right? And so that they're more in line earlier than maybe trying to be something that they're not. You know, that's another thing I saw is a lot of times women would come to me and they say, you know, maybe they're, it could be a parent, it could be a grandparent, you know, that maybe expected something of them, like maybe they should do nursing or they should do a certain field. And that's not really what was in line with them, right? They didn't even like it, or they didn't like the sight of blood, or, you know, something like that. And so, you know, if I could help younger, I think, you know, to me, I think that that's better, but any age.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that is so needed, especially where Sarah and I come from is in an Eastern world. So we were expecting a lot of things, and not to saying that all of us, but a majority of us, parents expect the children to go into a certain major. And if the children just kind of settle and let the parent directed them, and they can go on a life of not happy, be resentful, and waste, you know, it's like, I know I wasn't happy with what I did. I was at the time, I thought I liked it, but I didn't like it. And I took the time to step out and say that, you know, there's time to change. There's time that we have a choice. We do have a choice. And I want women to be listening out there. You do have a choice. Doesn't matter you're 16 or 69. It's not too old. It's not too late. Find somebody that who can actually uncover your interest. You know, passion is where you want to land on so you can have a happy life, and it's never too late. And what I love is being a coach. You don't have to be expert in that area. That's what I found the most gratifying, being a coach, because you only need to guide them. You don't need to be expert in that specific topic. Are you agree with that?
I think it is important for anyone in any field, coaching or not, to realize that you don't have to know everything right away, right? Like, and
Right.
I think that is something that you know, the women I work with think, right? Like, oh, I don't have all this together. I don't have this, you know, with business, it could be anything, right? Like, oh, I don't
Right.
have all the pieces. I don't know how to do this, or, you know, how do I get there? But you don't have to be, you know, the best, right? There's only one best, right? So whatever, like, but we're all different, right? So
You are your own best, right?
yeah, like there's only one of you, so you're the only one who can be the best of you,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
there's, yeah, so you know, everybody's so unique. So even if you're doing the same thing, it's never going to be exactly the same. Like your combination of your gifts are so different. And then, as
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, your experiences, right? And so there's so many different things that, you know, it's never going to be exactly the same. And so it's important to get started, whatever, you know, whatever it is that you're called to do, because there are people there waiting for you to help them, right? And so it's important to take the step, and not, it's okay if you don't have every single thing the way you think that you should. And, you know, what I did learn, you know, I learned a lot from my clients, right? So when I started, I think I had mentioned earlier that, you know, I just wanted to help, right? But then I learned, like, oh, I love to help women. And then more specifically, you know, what I was helping them with. And then even designing, you know, programs like workshops and such, really comes from the client, right? So the people I'm helping really are telling me by what they're sharing, right, of what they need. And so then the more I work with them, the more I could serve them. And so, yeah, I agree that you don't have to, you know, you don't have to know everything, but you still are an expert at something that they need, right? And the right people, I do believe, you know, if you put yourself out there and share what you're about, the right people will come to you and you'll be able to serve them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's beautiful. And I think it's such a blessing that you be able to figure out what you like to do. I be able to figure out what I want to do. Many women out there, many people out there still grinding day to day and not happy. And the fact that if you're not happy, your family will not be happy. The people surround you will not be happy. So you got to find out who you are, what you want, what you love in order to thrive, to move forward. So it is very critical to have somebody to talk to, somebody you completely trust, somebody you think that is not gonna, that so many times that people are thinking that, they have to live alone with whatever their thoughts. You don't have to. There's a community out there can support you. And well, thank you so much for, what you're doing, helping other unpack whatever they need to do, to have a better life.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I really hope that, some of this has helped your community, and I love what you're doing. So I really appreciate it, and hope to work with you more in the future.
It's wonderful. I mean, if there's one advice or one book that you can help our audience to kind of like take initial step to at least think about how they can excel their life, what would that one advice be, or what that one book that you would recommend?
It's hard to say one thing, but I do think, like, from wherever you are, right? I think that's the first step for me. I guess I'll just answer for myself, and is the first step I always look at, because there's always a change, right? COVID was a big change. There you can move, and that's a change. Maybe you're in a new relationship. There's always going to be change, right? So I think from wherever you are, the most important thing is to assess where you are, right? That's first. And then to look at, what is it that you really do want, where, if you're unhappy, there's probably already a reason that, there's something you want and you're not there, right? So,
yeah.
So really being true about, what is it that you want and getting clear on that, and then it makes it a lot easier to take that first step when you know where you're going. One of the things, I really encourage right now, I actually did mine last month, was already my vision board for next year. And so having that vision, and then now I'm working on breaking down the goals into smaller steps. And so, like I said, I think the first thing is, number one, seeing where you're at, right? Looking at the different areas of your life. Where are you spiritually? Where are you, physically? Where are you in that career? Where are you, in these different areas, your relationships and such? And so looking at that first, and then, getting very clear on what you want. And then it makes it a little easier to take those steps, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think sometimes we just keep going. We got to take the time to stop and reflect, take a pause, see where you're at. Like you said, look around, what not make you happy, what make you happy, and put it all on the paper, put it all in the vision board, and see it as a whole picture, because sometimes life can be overwhelmed if you just keep stacking on one thing after the other.
Yeah, especially in these times right now, right? Like, there's been so many additional things that we haven't been used to, of how we've had to adjust our life. And, you mentioned at the very beginning about seeing family. That's something I get to do. I'm leaving this weekend, and I get to go see my family I haven't seen in 2 years, so it's very
exciting.
Yeah, but it's very, it makes you appreciate, what you have and what you do really want. And so I think this is a great time for everyone, to really reflect about their life and see, what is it that they really do want. And, is it, do you want to live somewhere else, or is it, that you want to do something else? And like we mentioned, serve people. I know a lot of people who want to start, their mission, right? Maybe doing like a nonprofit or something like that. And, this is a great time to really think about what matters the most and take the time when you aren't traveling and busy and, you know, going around all the time to focus on what you really need. So
Yeah, COVID actually has give us some idea of what matter the most. You hit it the nail in the coffin. I mean, it's like right there. What matters to you? I mean, you got to take a look at the big picture and see, you know, who matters, what matters, and don't drill on things that petty or not matter, or, you know, just bog you down. But I want to thank you so much. I am really grateful. This is the month we're talking about gratitude. This is the month we're talking about blessing. And Sarah and I feel really blessed that we have this platform to meet so many wonderful people and get to know many, many different type of industry, people who've done like extraordinary things, been through extraordinary life, and you know, impact extraordinary lives out there. So thank you so much, Kathleen.
thank you. I really appreciate it.
And I hope you have a wonderful time with your family.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Leah. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
being here.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good
Bye.
night. Good night.